Listeners who didn't wish to hear about such things should turn off their radios.
Welcome back to 2024's Predict-O-Rama, where I make predictions about innovation, big tech, and the like. And today's fourth prediction explores one of the foundations of our AI-driven future. Synthetic data will be regulated. When we, as mere mortals, contemplate the future, we conjure up a myriad of possibilities. We plan, we anticipate, we build all of these imagined worlds, live in them, and then inevitably make decisions based on these mental wanderings. And this applies to everything, from where you want to be in 5 years to what you're going to eat for lunch. Being able to imagine potential futures is a big part of what it means to be human. In a sense, our imagination is a type of synthetic data in that it doesn't exist in the real world. Me imagining that I'm hanging out at a beach riding a liger with Giselle on my back is, unfortunately, just a fantasy. At least for now. In the context of AI, synthetic data is kind of like my liger fantasy. It's data that exists in the mind of a computer and not in the real world. Okay, so here's a more technical definition. Synthetic data is any data that was generated by algorithms or simulations and not collected from something that happened in the real world. So take, for instance, a flight simulator. In this digital wonderland, you can tinker with all kinds of variables. Wind speed, fuel consumption, who knows, maybe even in-flight snag options. You can push all of this through the system and voila, you get a bunch of data spewing out the other end. All of this data, though, is completely manufactured by the computer, and there's no need for a real-world plane to even exist. Now, synthetic data has been sneaking its way into every nook and cranny of our society for decades, from modeling the ups and downs of the stock market to optimizing foot traffic patterns in your local McDonald's. We've been using synthetic data in nearly every industry. So why is this a big deal now? Well, let's go back to 2016. A simpler time, before TikTok dances and global pandemics, when Google's DeepMind released a software called AlphaGo. And this AI was trained to play the world's greatest Go players, which is probably a bigger deal than it might at first seem. Go is one of the oldest and most revered board games in existence. And though the rules are pretty simple, surround your opponent with your pieces, only the greatest minds can actually become masters. Unlike games like chess that are purely probabilistic, Go is a whole other animal. There are more potential moves in Go than there are atoms in the universe. And so coin flipping stats, they're of very little use here. There's a fantastic documentary on AlphaGo by the same name, which I'll link above, but let me set the scene. So you have this legendary Go grandmaster named Lee Sedol, who poured his heart and soul into this game his entire life. And then in comes AlphaGo, and it just wipes the floor with him. I think Sedol won a game or two if I remember right, but in the end, it really wasn't even close. Frankly, it's kind of hard to watch, because as a result of this loss, Sedol, he felt a lot of shame and ended up retiring from the game altogether. After the win though, AlphaGo started to play with itself. It created simulations, generated mountains of synthetic data, and then incorporated those emerging insights into its Go strategy. By the end, the system was orders of magnitude more advanced in only a matter of days. In the old days, when it came to synthetic data and simulations, like the aforementioned flight simulator, humans were the puppet masters. They'd structure the data, run the simulations, and basically play the role of a drill sergeant, telling the system what was good or bad, kind of like training a dog. We push the systems to our desired outcomes. But this approach really doesn't work with AlphaGo and our new generation of AI systems like ChatGPT. These bad boys are built on neural nets, which are these massive, sprawling networks with billions of nodes that can ingest oceans of unstructured data. After the first upload of data, people are no longer needed, and human oversight is essentially impossible. There's simply too much complexity. What this ultimately creates is the world's darkest black box. We have no idea what simulations the systems are actually running, nor do we know what synthetic data is being created, much less what it's doing with the emerging insights. The genie gets out of the bottle really quickly. As I noted in my previous prediction videos, The open secret in technology is that AI companies are quickly running out of data to train their models on. And with landmark data lawsuits on the horizon, like the multi-billion-dollar lawsuit between OpenAI and New York Times, it is pretty obvious where the next generation of training data is actually going to come from. Itself. Synthetic data. By the end of this year, Gartner predicts that over 60% of all AI training data is going to be synthetic. Now look, this seems pretty inevitable. As these AI systems become smarter, they're going to churn out increasingly sophisticated models and simulations, leading to a never-ending cycle of insights that emerge from that are going to feed new simulations and on ad infinitum. Meta and researchers at NYU recently released a paper on this exact topic called Self-Rewarding Language Models. This paper is dense as oatmeal, but the high level is that AI systems like ChatGPT can essentially quiz themselves, evaluate their own answers, and then refine themselves accordingly. As odd as that sounds, as insulated and circular as that seems, it's actually been incredibly successful, doubling capabilities with just a little bit of training. So back to my prediction that synthetic data will be regulated. We're hurtling into a future where AI is the ultimate black box, churning out data faster than you can say algorithm. And while that's exciting in some ways, it also presents a problem. The answers that these systems give us are going to be light years beyond our comprehension, let alone our ability to validate them. We can't necessarily control the development of these systems, and synthetic data generation will likely continue indefinitely. However, we can implement regulations around their usage and enact disclosure laws. I could see laws that force companies that are using synthetic data to reveal where their initial data came from and how they're now using it. Additionally, I expect we'll see laws that prevent the use of these looping systems in healthcare without proper oversight getting passed this year. Synthetic data isn't going anywhere anytime soon. It's only going to become more and more prevalent. And while it offers undeniable advantages, there's also significant risk and unexpected consequences. To tackle this, we need transparency and a solid system for oversight and validation. Whether we see progress on this front in the coming year remains to be seen. If you like this video, be sure to hit subscribe for more predictions and content on AI, innovation, and the like. I'll make all your dreams come true, as long as your dream involves me making videos exactly like the one that you just watched. Hit subscribe.
Yeah.